Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Bobby J on 30A. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, and I'm here with Bobby Johnson.
How are you, Chris?
Hey, man, I'm good. I always feel like a radio announcer. Bobby J on 30A.
Bobby J. Doesn't it? It's got a good ring. Bobby J on 30A.
Yeah, it's like a Z100 thing, maybe. I don't know. It's it's very radio-esque, and I like it.
There's this guy named Martin Stringfellow a long time ago. He's got a really good client, a friend of mine. He just started one day calling me Bobby J.
Bobby J?
He has a real deep voice. And by the way, my voice is a little hoarse, and I apologize for that. I got a little bit of the crud.
The crud.
But he would always call me up and he'd say, "Hey, Bobby J. What's up, Bobby J? Bobby J. Bobby J." And for whatever reason, my wife even calls me Bobby J.
No way.
Yeah, awesome. So it just kind of took, and I actually, my website, Bobby J BobbyJ30A@gmail.com. It just kind of rings for the 30A thing.
Right. Yeah. Isn't that funny? I love it. Well, it's, you've always talked about being a local, and I think Bobby J makes it feel like you're a local. So I like it. If people see you on the street, can they call you Bobby J?
They do. They call me Bobby J. They call me, they call me all kinds of things, but that's one that I stick. That sticks.
That's good. That's good. Well, listen, I want to talk about the 4 agreements. I love that book. It's been a while now since I've read it, but you brought it up. You were like, let's talk about the 4 agreements. So what made you think of that?
So again, what does this have to do with real estate? Everything but nothing. And we talk about that, and you're going to hear me say that a lot throughout these shows. I actually have a plaque in my office that my team bought me that is the 4 agreements, and it's in there, and it's kind of a reminder to me, just life in general, about these agreements, and if you follow them closely, it can save you so much headache, and we'll get into the why of that. But I just think it's a really good, we're always out there trying to invent like things, like to write up or to make up, but the agreements are, first of all, they're very simple. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you can live by them, you can get a lot of comfort. And in the business of real estate, and I don't think it's just the business of real estate. I think it's maybe just life. But in real estate, when we get into these, and I would go, number 3, it really, I'm going to tell you a little story about something I did, and it really hurt, because I didn't follow these agreements, and keep in mind, life can be, in my opinion, some of these things that we're going to talk about, Chris, over the next year or however long, let's say years, right? However long we do this together. I'm not always these are places I'm trying to get to. I'm not always perfect. I've made mistakes. I have to refer to things like the agreement. I'm not always the words that come from my mouth. As my one of my daughters will point out, or my wife will point out, that's not how, that's not what you're not acting like you preach. Hey, we're not always there. I don't know about you, but I'm striving, man, to make it. I
think that's refreshing. I think it's refreshing. I think people are we're kind of tired of perfection, and we're kind of want transparency. And I think when you're being transparent and real about that, you don't have it all together. And listen, nobody could, like, you're a successful business dude. Like, you've been successful for years, and so that's what makes it so cool. Is here's somebody who's figured some stuff out in life, but doesn't have it all together. That's what's so interesting, I think. So thank you. And I look forward to all the transparency you bring to the show, because I think that's part of what makes living a good life, good.
Sure. And whenever you stray from these things, I mean, I don't know. I think that, maybe in my own personal realm or my own spiritual world or whatever you want to call it, I have a standard that I want to live by. Right. And I'm sure you do as well. And I'm hurt when I leave that. I tell people I'm sensitive and I suffer poorly. Right. So when I don't live by the words or the diet or the space that I want to be, it really takes a toll on me. Unfortunately, I may have mentioned in the last show that I don't have the luxury that others might have to get away with maybe saying the wrong thing, or maybe being a little misleading, or maybe being, whenever I do that, first of all, it always catches me.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, people get away with this stuff. I don't get away with it, right?
It
comes back and haunts me right away. So
yeah.
Again, I just wanted to clarify that, in our show, we're going to be talking a lot about these topics that I don't want people to think I'm some sort of angel that doesn't make mistakes or these things. I think that what I'm trying to get at is that these are things I'm striving to be, and I search for tools and video and podcasts that can help me be a better person.
Yeah. And the 4 Agreements was one of those things for you, it sounds like, as a book.
4 Agreements. And you want to dive in?
Yeah, like give me the 4 Agreements.
I know you said you know a little bit about them. First of all, number 1 is be impeccable with your word. And it's funny, being impeccable with your word, it kind of really sums up the rest of the 3.
Yeah.
If you think about it, because it really, that one, sometimes I always think that should be the last one.
Yeah.
Because if you're impeccable with your word, you don't have to worry about the next 3.
Yeah.
Right. So, being impeccable with your word, I think is so important, especially in real estate. People can sometimes say, I even think I ran into this today at some point. Gosh, this guy, I think his name's Chris Angel, as a matter of fact, we were supposed to meet at 12 and I said 2, and I said, man, I would have, what I mean? Like, so in my brain,
I get you now. Yeah.
No, in my brain, I was like, gosh, I don't think I would ever make a 12 o'clock appointment. That would be bizarre for me in my word. You know what I mean? So if you follow your word, you always know where you're going to bounce back to, right? You can literally go, I don't think I would say that, man.
Yeah.
Not that now, I'm using that as an example. Yeah. More than likely, you had it right and then I had it wrong, because you're
but that's the thing is, I think part of being impeccable with your word too is that, like you said, like we don't get it right all the time, but I think part of finding a agreement or a meeting of the minds, let's say, this is a great example. So we had our times crossed for this interview, and that might've been me, it might've been you, I don't know. But the point is, some people could take that then and be like, being impeccable with their word now is, if you're not impeccable with your word, they might blame somebody, or they might make it about something else. But you and I can just be like, it doesn't matter which one was right or which one was wrong. We made it work. And that's, I think, how you fix something when your word goes astray,
totally.
Right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, we can't do anything about that. Let's just figure out what it takes. And now we can be impeccable again the next time.
Right. Yeah. We're definitely not perfect. Which would lead into number 2. I love this one. And we all struggle with this one. Don't take anything personally.
That's a hard one.
I tell my kids, this isn't about you, perhaps. Here's the story I was going to tell you that happened to me.
Yeah.
I was working this big deal. It was a waterfront deal a couple years ago. And we were going to go home. They were going to write up a contract. I was going to write up, it's a $3-4 million contract. I can't recall exactly what, but they disappeared. We call it went down under, right? And if you know real estate, that's the term for their ghost, right? I can't find them anywhere, right? And I'm calling and I'm like, man, God. And then I'm starting to like, what did I say? I'm looking back over my texts.
Right.
I'm like, man, what did I say to these people? And I'm revisiting the conversation, and now I'm starting to call and I'm leaving them messages. And the messages are starting to get a little, almost looking back on it, kind of creepsterville, like, hey, what did I say? I was wondering, and then finally, I think 3 weeks later, they reach out to me and they're like, hey, Bobby, we are so sorry that we haven't been in touch with you. On the way home, we were in a head-on collision.
Wow.
On 98, or no, on I-10, excuse me. And our daughter's been in intensive care. Our 2-year-old daughter's been in intensive care, holding on for her life. We lost our phone. We lost everything. So we just basically were focused on trying to keep her alive. She made it and whatnot. And it reminded me, like, wow, man, I took that really personally.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
You know, and I thought it was about me, you know,
Yep.
and you know, and at the same time, I'm like, hey, don't listen to your messages, you know, like, just when you get your phone back, just let that go, you know. And, you know, it really was. It was a real reminder, though. Again, back to those agreements, like, gosh, you know, again. But if I'm impeccable with my word, right, wouldn't have mattered anyways. So I'm having to question my whole thing. Was I was like, wait a minute, what did I say? What did I do? And
right.
You know, which leads into number 3, which I think kind of ties in to number 2. Don't make assumptions.
Right. Totally. Yep.
You know, in real estate, we're always, you know, you know, I don't know, maybe he doesn't have the down payment. Maybe he doesn't like me. Maybe, you know, and we're just assuming and more than likely there's always more to the story.
Yeah. Always.
I'll share a quick story, but we were going on this surf trip, and we get to the store, and the lady at the checkout, all these guys, we're all really stoked and happy. We're headed to Orlando, and we're, you know, and the checkout ladies, she's kind of just like, she's being weird. She's being like rude, you know, and finally I'm like, hey, you know, what's up with you? Why are you being, you know, we're getting ready to go on a surf trip. And she's like, oh, well, you know, today on the way to work, I was loading my clothes in the laundry, and my cat jumped in the dryer.
No.
Yes, and she turned her dryer on and fried her cat.
No.
Right? And I'm just, here I am assuming, right? Again, this lady's just miserable. Maybe she needs to get a new job, right?
Yeah.
And again, these, like I said, these kind of come up on you, and you don't know when, you know, somebody's driving down the road and cut you off, or, you know, like you're right away, we want to say, hey, what a jerk, but we're assuming they're a jerk, but we don't know really what they got going on in their world.
Right.
You know,
even if it was, that's perfect. And I think sometimes there are those moments where somebody does say something directly to you, because, you know, it's not like a misunderstanding, like they are directly saying something to you. And in those moments, you can still not take it personally and still not make assumptions. Right. Like I had a guy who had done some tech work for me, and I had questioned him on the invoice, and I was trying to I just needed clarity, because I answer to other people. I need other people to sign off on some stuff that I was buying from him. And so he got really offended by me questioning him like 3 times to clarify. And so he said, I don't ever want to talk to you again. Don't ever talk to me, blah, whatever. It was the weirdest thing too. And so that could have gone down a lot of ways. Right. But what I just said, like, hey, listen, I'm not sure what I said to offend you. But I think you're a good guy, and I'm really sorry. And that's sort of how we left it. Right. But like, I could have gone the other way and ramped up the conflict. Anyway, I just think I think you're right. Like, so much controversy happens in this law, the agreement 2 and 3.
Oh, totally. And, you know, there's another saying I always love, you know, hurt people.
Yes. Right.
You know?
And are hurt by them. Yeah. I heard that.
We may have brought that up last show even, but, you know, my son's dealing with somebody at school that he keeps saying is kind of being a bully to him or into some other classmates. And I know a little bit of this person's
story,
what's happened to him. We can talk about that later, but I would never talk about it on the show. But I told him, I said, buddy, this kid's hurt. You know, and he has a right to be hurt, but he doesn't have a right to hurt you, but you do need to understand. Right. Don't assume he's just a bully and a mean kid. Just, you know, by his current actions, he's really hurt. Yeah. And you know, again, I think number 3 helps us understand that there's more going on, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what I would recommend everyone doing is getting this book. It is I mean, you've read it. It's a 1-day read, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going over the highlights of them. And number 4 is, it really kind of ties in all of them, is always do your best. So if you're always doing your best, right? Yeah. I mean, it seems like you don't have to take anything personal. You don't have to assume. because you've already been impeccable with your word, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, again, we all fall short at times of all of these, right. But you know, like, and if I'm listing a home, and I'm about to lose the deal, I mean, I've lost deals where I've said, you know what, the seller will say, hey, we're going to go in another direction,
right?
And I've at times gone, maybe that might not be a bad option, you know, because I didn't do my best, you know, and I could really look at it. But when I've done my best and I've really worked hard, I may have more of an argument towards this whole situation to say, hey, look, you know, what have I done? And we've done exactly as you said. We've followed the script that we've all agreed upon before we took the listing.
Right.
But when I haven't done my best, I'm literally knowing it, and literally I'll let a seller out if I haven't done my best.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think too, like when we do our best, and something doesn't go our direction, at least we can rest our head on our pillow at night being like, well, I did what I could do. And I think that's the part where if you didn't do your best, then the internal voices start to go like, you're dumb. You could have been better. Like you know, we all have those two. I think last time you talked about the two voices, like on each shoulder, right?
Totally.
But when you do your best, that snarky voice tends to tone down a lot because you just feel good about what you've been doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, you know, and there again, you know, you oftentimes, you know, also when it becomes very apparent when you haven't.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it'll bite at you. You know, I mean, I've oftentimes felt that, you know, what I ask my son when he's, you know, he struggles a little bit in a couple classes, and I always ask him, did you do your best? Because I don't even care about the grade. I really don't. You know, especially nowadays, the way the schools are set up. It's you know, I mean, there's days he has 6-7 hours of homework every night. Right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, come on, you know. But I did notice that when he can get his head right, and he can give it the right attitude, and he's done his best, sometimes that sees a B,
right?
Just by that little bit of a tweak, and you do something there, you know?
It's really good.
Hey,
let me ask you this about you know, the 4 agreements. What would it be like if a community, like let's just say 30A, so let's just say a community was living to the best of its ability with these 4 agreements? Like, what would that look like? What would it be like to live in a community like that?
Wow.
I mean, it's a hard question to answer.
You do come up with some great questions, though. Wouldn't it be amazing?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that maybe, you know, we often talk about like if you want to define yourself, I mean, look at your 5 people you hang around with the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the things that I love about the yoga culture is that this is one of the books that when you get certified to become a yogi or whatever, most good yogi they're gonna make you read that, right?
Nice.
And yogi people have a tendency to live that. So I think that it would, you know, I try to hang around with people that understand these agreements, right?
Yep.
So what would it look like? Wow. I mean, it would be pretty amazing.
I know.
I don't know that we're anywhere near it, but
I think
pretty awesome. But just real quickly, I do try to associate with people, and I try to hire people that go. Matter of fact, when you come to work for me, you get introduced to the 4 agreements.
That's awesome.
If you don't know where the 4 agreements are, obviously you weren't paying attention.
Right. Yeah. Right. I think too, like you know, the 4 agreements is a process. It's an ongoing audit of your life. You're never like, I don't think anybody ever reaches utopia with the 4 agreements. It's this ongoing reminder as you live your life. And I think inside of a work setting, like you're talking about, like that everybody's having that conversation together,
right?
Regardless of perfection. We're all agreeing that we can have this conversation of 4 agreements inside this workplace or inside this family or inside this school. Like that's where it's awesome. I mean, I love the thought of that.
I think that, you know, I oftentimes, no matter what happens, Chris, I mean, in my life, I go back to looking in the mirror, right? I call it cleaning up my side of the street.
Yeah.
Okay. And the agreements fall into that, right? So when something goes down, I get fired from a listing, an agent leaves the office, partner dispute, you know, I can kind of look over the agreements, but I also can look at my role. I can't fix Chris's role, right?
Right. Yeah.
I can only fix what Bobby.
So good. Yeah.
So when one of my kids comes to me with an issue, right, and they've got this like a big beef going on, you know, like something really happened to them. And people, don't get me wrong, I don't want to discount bad stuff. You know, bad stuff, as you and I know, happens, right? But I will always say to them, all right, what was your role? What could you do differently? And they're like, what do you, Dad,
I know, right?
Hear what I just said? I mean, this person cut me off, or this person, you know, and dig in on your role, because you can't fix the other person.
Right.
Fix you, and then go from there. And that is always where I end up. So a lot of times, I think as my kids have grown older, they're kind of hesitant they know where I'm going to say, hey, what's your role?
Yeah.
And we'll go from there.
So good. That's the only place you have power, is in your role. You have no power out because you can't change the other person. The only place you can find your power is inside of your role. That's it. You got it.
Yeah.
So good.
Right. Yeah.
Well, here's what I love about this conversation. So when we talk about Bobby J on 30A, like, you know, the vision of this show and what the message is expanding. But I feel like, you know, for you to be able to champion these kinds of conversations in the community, that what if a school started to do a book club on let's all read the 4 agreements, or businesses in the community, or families in the community? Like, I think this is a part of the legacy of the show.
I think it's also, Chris, it's an easier way to live. You know what I mean? Like we learn as we do these things, and if you can infiltrate the people, what I've noticed, and in doing so, obviously everything we're doing has a goal and a mission. You know, I'm doing a podcast or a vlog with you, and I'm hoping, obviously, my business will grow with that, like your business grows, right? And what I hope to come of that is that these like-minded people will be the ones to call me. Right. As we've entered into this world of all these internet leads, right? And that's what everyone's striving for, right? More internet leads. I got to get more leads, which we do, right? We still want, but what happens is you get some pretty odd people reaching out to you at really weird times of the night. You don't relate to them. You don't click with them. So I think more and more what this show, in my eyes, will be about is that people that connect to the message that I'm relaying, they get me already, and they want to be a part of that. And that when we're doing a deal in real estate, or maybe we're going surfing or whatever it is, we already click. They already are living that. They're like, there might be someone that's going to listen to this thing and go, these guys are cuckoo.
Fruit Loops.
They're not, and that's okay. They're not. Right. Matter of fact, I hope they don't call me, because I'm not looking to be everybody's agent. I'm looking to, in this next run, you know, you and I have talked about this extensively. I'm kind of on the downside of it. You know, I want to give back to the community. I want to give back to my children. I want to give back to my family. And this is the kind of stuff we're going to be doing and moving forward, you know?
So good. I love it. Well, this is a good conversation. I'm excited for more. I know that we sometimes like to end at least the first 2 episodes we did, and we can this time too, with some type of a real estate tidbit of sorts. What do you have for us today?
Yeah, so what I've got listed right now, 164 Blue Lupine, and it's a golf front condo. It's
nice.
Yes, it's absolutely beautiful. It's listed for $890.
Nice.
The whole interior of this property is under construction. So I'm hoping that that'll be wrapped up really soon. It's probably one of the reasons if you were to do a Google search, or not a Google search, but a real estate search on 30A for 3 bedrooms, just to give you an idea, a little bit of our market, right? 3 bedrooms, 2 bath on the water, under $1 million. In that particular area, there might be 2 things. 3, maybe 3. This is one of them.
Cool.
Again, it is 164 Blue Lupine, Unit 212. Probably the best deal golf front on the market. Wow. The only reason it has not sold, I would say, is because of the construction. Now, the way I view that is people need to view that as an opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, because, right. But a lot of times people walk in, all this construction, and they run from it. But seller's pretty motivated to move on with it. I think that's, I think for the week, that's probably the deal of the week.
I love it. I love it. Well, if people want to search for that property on your website, or they even reach out to you, like, what's a great place to go?
So 38localrealestate.com. Go there, check it out. Again, my cell, 850-865-7798. Awesome. And I do answer my phone. I'm still one of those agents that does that.
Thanks. A Renaissance man. I love it. Awesome, Bobby. Good stuff today. Thanks. I'll catch you in the next episode.
Chris, we'll see you soon.
All right.